Welcome to AniMonday, the format where I invite you to sit down at the table with me, grab something to eat or something to drink and listen to me while I talk about anything regarding anime, manga or general Japanese pop culture. And today I'm going to talk about one of my all-time favorite anime, Cowboy Bebop. So in terms of food, I made myself some beef and broccoli. I know the insiders who already saw Cowboy Bebop would have said bell peppers and beef would be much better. I know, but I don't like bell peppers, so we stick to the beef and broccoli. So what can you expect from this video? My goal is to basically sell you on Cowboy Bebop. That means I will talk spoiler free. And if you're someone who never watched Cowboy Bebop before, the anime, I'm not talking about the live action series, my goal is to motivate you to sit down and watch Cowboy Bebop. And to those people who already watched Cowboy Bebop a long time ago, my goal is to make you rewatch Cowboy Bebop with a different eye on the whole show. And after that, I want to talk about why I like Cowboy Bebop so much, more about the feelings the show gave me, and not much on a sort of rating out of 10 basis. So it's a little bit emotional because it's quite an emotional show. So yeah, grab your drink, grab your food, and let's go. So you can imagine Cowboy Bebop as a concoction of sci-fi mixed with Western with a little sprinkle of noir in it. And everything besides the amazing visuals, it is complemented with jazz and blues and funk music because the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Shinichiro Watanabe, is a real music buff, and all of his other shows, just like for example Samurai Champloo, combine Edo period samurai anime with hip-hop beats. So when it comes to music, you're definitely in for a treat. One thing that is quite different compared to other anime shows, Cowboy Bebop is more of an episodic show. That means every episode tells a different story on a different day. However, there is an overarching storyline regarding the main protagonist Spike Spiegel, but you only get, like, from all the 26 episodes, I think only around 5 episodes are really about this main storyline. But all the other episodes are basically like day-by-day adventures where the main cast that consists of said Spike Spiegel, Jet Black, Faye Valentine and Ed, or separate episodes where every character gets a little bit of a spotlight and we get a look into their past and what their whole mission in life is like. And that's one of the biggest, how do I say it? Like the biggest plot points of the whole show and their characters is what was in the past and move on from your past, if that makes sense. The whole show is also a combination of different genres, like movie genres. For example, we have like noir, detective style episodes. We have classic, like almost classic Western style episodes. Then we have 1 or 2 episodes that are more like type of horror episodes. So there's definitely something for everyone. Is every episode peak 10 out of 10 entertainment? Definitely not. But the combination of everything gives it a very, very unique taste. And I do have to mention that Cowboy Bebop is not some, I would say, light-hearted adventure story. There is no big goal like becoming king of the pirates or becoming Hokage or becoming the strongest in the universe. Cowboy Bebop really lives from the characters that you meet in every episode and like the moral and, like, how do I say it, life lessons that you take from each episode. So without getting into too much detail, that is the basic breakdown how you could imagine Cowboy Bebop, so what it's all about. But what is more important is like the emotional component that I would say Cowboy Bebop could evoke in a human. And that's what I want to talk about next.
Short break here. Did you know that over 80% of the people watching this video are not subscribed yet? I know my videos are not perfect, but every subscriber motivates me to keep perfecting my videos and try to become better video after video. So since I don't earn money, the only thing you can help me with is 3 clicks. Click on the subscription, click on the like and on the bell to get notified when I drop a new video. So thank you for your support, and let's continue with the video.
Listen, Jet.
This guy's a major player in the syndicate, operates all around the asteroids.
You said bell peppers and beef.
His name's Asimov Solensen. Are you listening to me?
There's no beef in here. So you wouldn't really call it bell peppers and beef, now would you?
Yes, I would.
Well, it's not!
It is when you're broke, all right?
So one thing I want to get out of the way at the beginning. I watched Cowboy Bebop back when it aired on German MTV in 2004, I think it was. And back then I was 12 years old. So I do have a little bit of nostalgia like backed up in my head. Because back then Cowboy Bebop was running at very, very late hours. I think it was like 11 p.m. or something. And back then I already knew what anime was. But this show was quite different. There was no magic involved, no ninjas, no pirates, no fighting in a sort of universal earth destruction power level like Dragon Ball Z, for example. And right at the beginning I noticed, I think the first episode that I saw was the first episode actually. And I think the first episode is like sums up very, very nicely what the show is all about, but I will get to that in a bit. I remember very vividly how I like turned on the TV in my room at those late hours, and it was right in the middle of the week, so I had school next day and had to be really careful that every time I listened that someone or that one of my parents woke up and was walking towards my room, I had to like turn off the TV and everything. But back then I already like got this feeling like, let me be frank here, I was 12. The show is about, it's a very grown-up story. The characters are smoking, they're drinking, they're shooting with guns, people dying in that show. And I say as it is, for a 12-year-old me, that was really cool. It was so edgy, it was different from all those like kid stories that you had with like your regular shonen anime. And that was also the first time I got in touch with jazz music. And since then, I still listen to jazz here and there because it like the music in the show is so important for the overall vibe and the connection with the visuals that you get from the show. And that what makes like Cowboy Bebop like such an amazing like package with everything. Just for the record, no pun intended, I'm not a collector of vinyl records or anything. But I do have one vinyl, and it is right at that wall. It is the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack that consists of 2 vinyls with 2 sides each, and it is framed because I don't even have a record player, so I can't use this vinyl. But the music in this show is such a cultural like masterpiece in its whole entirety that I had to buy it and I had to frame it, because that is a piece of culture right there. And that is one very big point why the show is as good as it is. But let's talk about the characters a little bit. So we have our main protagonist, Spike Spiegel. Spike was a hitman or assassin for a mafia organization called the Syndicate. And we see at the beginning of the first episode something about his past. And now his life became that of a bounty hunter. And he lives on the ship called the Bebop with his first partner, Jet Black, who is actually the captain of the Bebop. And over the story, they get 2 more crew members, or rather 3 crew members. Faye Valentine, who is a very, very attractive woman and probably the first waifu or the first, like, let's say, fictional love of many, many young men out there, who is first of all a very strong woman, which you don't have in like many new shows that came over the years. Many like anime or mangaka have a problem depicting women as like strong and actually important for the story. So Faye Valentine is like how do I say it? A fictional woman that is very deep in my heart, because she was one of the first women that I saw in an animated like TV show where I thought, damn,
someone cooked here.
Then also we get Ed, who is a hacker, and Ed, we don't know if Ed is a boy or a girl. Like back then, remember the show is from the late 90s, and Ed was like the sort of one of the first gender fluid characters that we had in such a show. But it is basically, for the whole story, it is completely irrelevant if Ed is a boy or a girl. Ed is just Ed. And we have a very smart dog called Ein, who is just there. Well, Ein is there. What makes Cowboy Bebop so special? And the title of the video might already conclude it, why I think Cowboy Bebop is so special. I call it like Stoicism, the anime. And the Stoic philosophy is a big core concept in Cowboy Bebop. And I know some of you maybe don't know what Stoicism is. So let me explain it in the most criminally simple way that I could came up with. Stoicism is the philosophy of going through pain and suffering without much emotional attachment or display of feelings. Some of the like big names in philosophy, in Stoic philosophy, is, if you want to look into it, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. As I said before, the first episode sums up Cowboy Bebop so well. In every episode, the crew meets other people who they will get to know, like sometimes on a little bit deeper base and sometimes more on a surface level. Sometimes those people just got in a bad situation because they're just trying to get through life. Maybe they're trying to help a relative or a friend, or maybe they just want to get out of their like old life. Maybe they have a criminal past. And sometimes those people have a very tragic end. And although the characters are like the main characters like Spike and Jet, even though they sometimes get affected by what they have witnessed, but still in the next shot you see them living their life just because they have no choice. And that is a teaching that Stoicism has also like in it. So for example, if you have, how do I say it? Sometimes things in life don't work out as you might think they would or think they should. Sometimes you lose your job, or sometimes you maybe lose someone you love, someone from your family or friends. But at the end of the day, when the sun rises again, you still have to live your life. You have to go to your job. There's no time for like diving into sadness for too long. Of course, if tragic things happen, of course you get like emotionally touched most of the time. But most of the time, also these situations or events are not something that you can control. And that is the whole, like one of the overarching, like I would say, plots in Stoicism, is that don't attach yourself to things that you can't control. Do the best you can. Try to make the best decisions that you can in that moment, but don't get affected like for the future. You have to live on. Don't waste too much time on things you can't control. The characters in Cowboy Bebop, everyone has their past. Every one of them is either trying to run away from something or find peace with their past. Like Faye, for example. Back when she was a child, there was an accident with her parents or something along those lines, but the doctors couldn't treat her, and that's why they basically froze her. Like, it's called cryogenic sleep or something along those lines, where she woke up many years later in a futuristic world that she doesn't know, with a whole bunch of debt because she couldn't pay the doctor bills, because she has no job, because she came from a whole different time period. But at some point, because of a VHS tape, she gets a hint of where she came from, who she is. And that's the point where she tries to find her past. But Spike, of all people, tells her, forget the past, there's nothing positive in it. Look forward, forget the past. Live today and live for the future. And also Jet has his past because he worked as a police officer. The love of his life just one day left him, and till the present it doesn't let him go. Until in an episode it all gets like sort of solved. And Spike, of all people, who is always talking about letting go of the past and everything, has the biggest package to carry. And we see that. We know Spike has a big problem because he doesn't seem to care. He doesn't seem to care about living. He only takes on the most dangerous missions. If there is a situation, that seems like pretty much like his end, one of his quotes is, "Whatever happens, happens," which is also like sort of a side hook towards Stoicism, because in a very simple way, that is one of the core messages of Stoicism. Whatever happens, happens. You can't change it. You can only live from here on. If you did your best to make the best decision that you could in that situation, you can't change it. I know Cowboy Bebop is not an anime for everyone. It is not a show where you watch hundreds of episodes that are towards a very big overarching goal. You really have to sit down, watch the show, and try to take it in. Listen to the dialogues, listen to the music, pay attention to the whole atmosphere that the show gives you. It sounds a little bit like pretentious, but Cowboy Bebop is no simple entertainment. This is not something you can sit down, watch, and turn your brain off. Cowboy Bebop really gets deep into, like, how do I say it? Into different, like, philosophical plot points and life lessons, basically. And as I said before, I really hope that some of you who watch this video will give Cowboy Bebop a chance. And as I said before, not every episode is a 10 out of 10. Some episodes are more on the boring side. And but the good episodes, on the other hand, have a really, really good payoff. And if you have watched Cowboy Bebop in the past, give it another chance. I watched the show, I think, 4 times now. The first time back when I was 12. And as I said before, the show was cool, was edgy, everyone was smoking, everyone was drinking. Then I think the next time was, I was like, I think 20. So a little bit more grown up. And there were many concepts that I couldn't grasp back then. Then I watched it again, I think in my mid-20s. And now I'm out here, being 32 years old, watched it again, and the show hit me even more. So that's why the nostalgia factor doesn't have that much effect on me, because I took the time and watched the show a couple of times, like to set off this whole nostalgia of, oh, back in the day, I remember it was such a good show. No, I watched it like, I think 4 weeks ago, and there were a lot more like things I could understand, a lot more feelings that I could put into it, because the older you are, the more life experience you have, the easier you can relate to the characters. And I do implore you to take the time and like give those characters a chance. Sit down and really take in the show. Give those emotions and the whole vibe of the show. Give it a chance and really watch it. Take it in. You might have to be in a like certain state of mind to watch it. You really have to take your time. And if you decide to do so, I think you're in for a treat. But remember, you're gonna carry that weight. Am I right, Spike?
Whatever happens, happens.